Hey everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious and debated periods in ancient history, the world before the Great Flood. What was it really like? Was it a paradise, a technological marvel, or something far more sinister? Let's peel back the layers of myth, scripture, and scientific theory to explore this fascinating antediluvian age. When we think of the pre-flood world, the story of Noah and the ark in the book of Genesis is often the first thing that comes to mind. But the biblical account, while central, is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. In fact, flood narratives are surprisingly common across cultures worldwide. From the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia to tales from ancient Greece, China, India, and Native American traditions, the memory of a world-altering deluge seems to be etched into our collective human consciousness. This widespread theme suggests that something truly catastrophic happened in our distant past, an event so significant that it was passed down through generations across the globe. Let's start with the biblical description. Genesis paints a picture of a world that was both familiar and strangely different from our own. It mentions rivers, trees, and animals, but it also speaks of extraordinary human lifespans. Adam lived to be 930, his son Seth to 912, and Noah's grandfather Methuselah holds the record at an incredible 969 years. Can we even imagine living for almost a millennium? Think about the knowledge and skills one could accumulate. A single person could witness centuries of change, master countless crafts, and pass down wisdom directly for generations. This longevity alone would have created a society fundamentally different from anything we know today. Some have interpreted this as a time when the Earth's environment was much more hospitable. One popular theory suggests a vapor canopy surrounded the planet, a layer of water vapor in the upper atmosphere. This canopy would have created a greenhouse-like effect, maintaining a stable, pleasant climate across the globe. It would have also filtered out harmful cosmic radiation, which some believe could have contributed to the extended lifespans by slowing down the aging process. This model would also explain where all the water for a global flood came from, the canopy collapsing and releasing its contents as 40 days and nights of torrential rain. While this theory is intriguing, it's important to note that it lacks direct scientific evidence and presents some physical challenges. But it's a powerful image of a radically different early Earth. The environment wasn't the only thing that was different. Genesis chapter 6 describes a world filled with giants in the earth in those days. The Hebrew word used here is Nephilim, which has been a subject of intense debate for centuries. The text says they were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. Who were these sons of God? Some scholars interpret them as fallen angels, while others suggest they were a righteous lineage of humans, perhaps descendants of Seth, who intermarried with a more worldly group. Whatever their origin, the Nephilim are depicted as mighty men of renown, figures of great power and influence. Their presence adds a layer of mythic grandeur to the antediluvian world, hinting at a time when the lines between the divine and the mortal were blurred. This brings us to a darker aspect of the pre-flood world. The Bible doesn't describe a peaceful utopia. On the contrary, it says that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. The earth was filled with violence. The presence of the Nephilim is often linked to this widespread corruption. A world with supernaturally powerful beings and long-lived, increasingly corrupt humans could easily descend into chaos and tyranny. It was this pervasive wickedness and violence that, according to the narrative, prompted a divine judgment, the flood. It wasn't just a random natural disaster. It was a cosmic reset button, a cleansing of a world that had gone terribly wrong. But what about the level of technology? We often picture pre-flood people as primitive, maybe living in simple huts. But is that accurate? Genesis mentions Cain building a city, and his descendants developing skills in metallurgy, working with bronze and iron, and creating musical instruments like the harp and organ. Tubal-Cain is described as an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. This implies a level of craftsmanship and societal organization that goes beyond simple hunter-gatherer societies. Given the extreme lifespans, imagine the potential for technological advancement. If a brilliant inventor like Leonardo da Vinci or Nikola Tesla could live for 900 years instead of 80, what could they achieve? Generations of knowledge wouldn't be lost to death. It could be built upon continuously. This has led some to speculate that the pre-flood civilization might have been incredibly advanced, perhaps even surpassing our own in certain areas. These are, of course, speculations, often falling into the realm of fringe theories about lost civilizations like Atlantis. While there's no archaeological proof of ancient microchips or flying machines, we shouldn't automatically dismiss the possibility of a sophisticated, non-industrial society. They might have developed knowledge in areas we've since lost, perhaps using natural forces or materials in ways we can't yet comprehend. Archaeology presents its own set of puzzles. If a global flood occurred, what evidence would we expect to find? Geologists point to vast sedimentary rock layers spread across continents, filled with the fossilized remains of billions of creatures. The conventional view is that these layers formed over millions of years. However, catastrophist models, which align with the flood narrative, argue that a single massive global flood could explain these features much better, the rapid burial of organisms leading to fossilization on a massive scale. We also find what are called out-of-place artifacts, or OOP-ARTs. These are objects found in geological strata that seem to contradict the conventional timeline of history. Things like a metal hammer found in Cretaceous rock or intricate spheres found in Precambrian deposits. While many of these have conventional explanations or are disputed, they continue to fuel the imagination and the debate about a lost ancient civilization. So, let's try to paint a complete picture of this lost world. Imagine a planet with a lush, uniform climate, with no harsh winters or scorching summers. Giant plants and animals may have roamed the land. Humans lived for centuries, accumulating vast amounts of knowledge. Society was advanced enough to build cities and work with metals. But alongside this potential paradise, a shadow grew. Power, corruption, and violence became rampant, possibly spurred on by the presence of the mysterious Nephilim. The world became a place of great evil, so much so that its creator decided to wash it clean and start over with Noah, his family, and the animals aboard the ark. It's a powerful and dramatic story. It's a tale of immense potential and catastrophic failure. Whether you view it as literal history, an allegorical tale, or a myth rooted in a real ancient cataclysm, the story of the pre-flood world serves as a profound cautionary tale. It speaks of the consequences of unchecked power and corruption and the fragility of civilization. It reminds us that even the most advanced and powerful societies can fall. What do you think? Was the antediluvian world a high-tech civilization? A land of giants and mythic heroes? Or a simple, agrarian society that fell into moral decay? The beauty of this topic is that it sits at the crossroads of faith, history, and science, leaving so much room for wonder and exploration. The clues are scattered across ancient texts and buried within the earth, waiting for us to piece them together. The world before the flood remains one of history's greatest enigmas, a lost chapter in the human story that continues to fascinate and inspire us to this day. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the distant past. If you enjoyed this exploration, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. I'd love to hear your theories and thoughts about the pre-flood world in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.